What's up, y'all? Hopefully everybody's doing good. Today is Saturday. I did my oil change on the truck earlier, and now I'm working on something else in the truck. Unfortunately, I found some metal pieces on my drain plug, which does not sound good. I think while I go to Bosnia in about 2 weeks, I'm just going to take the truck to a shop and have them work on it, take an L. But in the meantime, I'm taking an L right now because so the issue is I was replacing my AC system. As you know, I replaced the whole thing, and my clutch was still not engaging. And this might be boring to some, but if you're having a similar issue, it's going to be interesting. So basically, what I found out is your AC clutch gets power from a high pressure switch. I think it's either high pressure or low pressure. One of them over there, you can lead the wire to the clutch and see which one it is. But anyways, let's call it a high pressure switch. That switch reads the Freon in your air dryer. That high pressure switch sits on the air dryer, and then once that sees that there's Freon in there, it gives power to the clutch. That's why if you have low Freon in your system, your clutch does not turn on, because that sensor doesn't see the Freon in there. Anyways, I thought the power to that high pressure switch just came directly from the truck, from the ECM. However, no. I did a bunch of digging, and essentially what happens is, where everything starts is you turn on your power, your fan speed, then your fan speed switch sends power to an air sensor, which is this right here. It's called an air sensor. This thing costs $9, and this is the cause of all my issues. It just a lot of time on my hands to find out this issue. And this is, you know, when you have an old truck, wires and all that electrical crap, it's gonna be a mess. And this was the problem. So when you turn on your power, your switch sends power to this. This sees that there's air in the system, and then this sends power back to a micro sensor that is on back of your controls, your hot cold control. And then that control sees that you have it on AC, and then that control sends it to a thermostat. It's called a thermostatic switch, which is between your blower and your evaporator. And finally, when that sees that the air is blowing through, that sends power to a high pressure switch, and then the high pressure switch sends power to the clutch. So it's a whole mess, and I have my whole truck apart. Everything is nasty in here. I went to Freightliner, and I was replacing essentially this box. It's a junction box for air, for your gauges. It sits behind your dash, and essentially this piece, hopefully you can see this piece was sitting right in here, and just because it's so old, it broke off. So I went to Freightliner and I bought a new junction block instead of trying to tap this out. The new block does not look the same, and I'll show you why, because they didn't have the same fittings. This is my new block, a bunch of different fittings. You want to put a bunch of Teflon tape on this stuff when you put it on, so you don't get any air leaks, but hopefully it works. But yeah, anyways, this is a mess. I mean, look at this. See, down there is my evaporator. That's your thermostatic switch, sits right here. Right here is all my relays that I've been trying to figure out. You know, maybe my relay went out or a breaker. But anyways, when you have an old truck, having this is your best friend. Just lead that power, because essentially everything just the way the system works is it's a continued ground. So basically the switch gets power, and then switch sends ground to one thing, that thing gets ground to another thing. It just essentially is grounding itself through the circuit, and once that circuit completes, the last thing on the list gets power. But yeah, hopefully that gives you a better understanding, or I guess idea, of how this thing works. But yeah, the sensor sat right here, and all these lines are connected to it. And whenever you disconnect lines, what you want to do is mark them. As you can see, like I have number 2 written on this, so you know what goes where. Because whenever you have a bunch of lines connecting, last thing you want to do is connect them wrong, which in this case I don't really think it matters, because they're all going into the same air chamber. But if you're doing the like gauges and stuff, you should definitely mark them. But yeah, let's finish this up, wrap this up, and then hopefully our AC is blowing cold, because I did pull a vacuum and I added Freon. What I did is I tested my clutch, and the way I test my clutch is you just connect it directly to power. In my case, I did it to alternator, and you know, positive, negative, and it was clicking, it was engaging, so I knew it was something with the power. And yeah, I had the Freon, I pulled it, it's holding, you know, a vacuum, holding pressure. So hopefully when I do all this, we're gonna have some cold AC blowing through here. But it takes work, you know. Having an old truck is not easy. And you know, if I would have went to Freightliner and had them do this, who knows, this would have been definitely a couple hundreds, if not a couple $1,000s of labor to get it figured out what the issue is, because labor on figuring out things like this is very, very high. But yeah, let's finish this up and get back to you. All right, everyone, well, here's a new junction block built up. As you can see, here's our old one. This is our sensor and all of our connections, and hopefully we should be good to go with this type of fitting, I guess. So we're about to find out if this will do it.